Welcome to Sports That Made Me, the podcast designed to tell the never-heard-before stories of athletes and people behind the scenes in the sports industry, telling me how their sport shaped them into the person they are today. I'm delighted to be joined for the first episode by Alex Hyman, Cardiff Met's #1 ranked tennis player. Alex, thank you very much for being here. How are you?
Yeah, all good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
It's wonderful to hear. We're having a very interesting podcast this afternoon. So obviously, tennis, the main sport. If you could just tell us briefly how you got into it. Why do you think tennis was something that kind of inspired you and kind of what grabbed you into it to make you feel like, do you know what, that's the sport that I want to play?
Yeah, I think first of all, like my mind goes straight to it was my family that got me involved. I don't think I probably would have got into it if it wasn't for them. Mum played a lot. She was decent. She was like county standard. And then brother and sister both played, who are good club county players. And I'm 6 years younger than my brother and 8 years younger than my sister. So I always had them as like competition and I was always trying to be better than them. So I think that was like sort of a grounding for me to try and get up to their level. Obviously when I was like 5 years old, I wasn't going to be as good as them, but that was always something that that got me playing and got me wanting to improve.
I always feel like that's always how the best stories start. Whenever someone has an older sibling and they're always trying to compete against him, but they can't just quite win. You can't win just because of the age, the strength difference, and then all of a sudden you get better and better and better, and then all of a sudden you start winning, and then they wonder, all right, how's this one gone wrong? So obviously a Cardiff Met as well with tennis. You played it all throughout university here from first year, obviously now doing a master's as well. So,
yeah, I came in the year, I started in the COVID year, so we actually couldn't play too many matches against other universities, but we trained a hell of a lot. And then from second year onwards, then we started to play more matches. And the tennis has actually really improved here. It's much more performance-based now, so it's good, the sort of evolution of it over the last couple of years.
And then through COVID, obviously you mentioned that first year, how tough was that? Because I know for me personally, as a football player, going from sport every day, being in the gym with strength and conditioning and all of this to nothing, literally overnight nothing. It was, for me, incredibly hard to go from that. So for you, how did you deal with that? How did you kind of keep the training going or keep your motivation there? Because for me, I lost a lot of motivation when that happened. I couldn't really be bothered to want to go and do it and stuff. But how for you during COVID did that challenge you?
Yeah, I think it was challenging. Obviously, I was really lucky. I actually lived at a school because my mum was a teacher. So we actually had access to a court just across the playing field and we weren't coming into contact with anyone. So I was really lucky that I had that space outdoor to use for fitness, to use for playing with my brother who was also home. So we were so fortunate to be able to have that. But also was like, right, I need to find some sort of goal here, otherwise I'm just going to get lost and it's not going to be fun. So like a lot of people, got into running. Downloaded Strava and got into it, and tried a couple of half marathons for the first time. Haven't done it since, obviously, but just got into that, and I think that was quite a nice goal to have. So lost quite a bit of weight, but it was decent for my cardio. Yeah,
I was going to say, because obviously tennis as well, very fitness demanding sport. Yeah. But you mentioned there the goal setting for any athlete or, well, whatever level they may be, professional or semi-professional or amateur, how important is it to set yourself a goal or a target to be like, that's where I want to be, and how do I get there?
Yeah, it is important because I think there are so many different aspects of whatever sport you play that you need to be focusing on, whether that's if you're trying to get better psychologically or if you're trying to get better fitness-wise or if you're trying to get better tactically. Like all those things going on at once is really tough to cope with. So to have one specific goal that you're focusing on maybe on specific days of the week or sort of parked in one part of your mind is important. So for me, I think during COVID it was, okay, how can I really get my cardio better so I can last 3 5-set matches? Not that I'd be playing 5-set matches, but 3-hour matches. Can I get myself in a position where I'm able to last for that long? And then, maybe when I get back into the weight rooms after COVID, then that's when I focus on that side of things. So just splitting it up is important.
Yeah, definitely. And especially with goals, not having that target is like for me as well, personally going through like COVID and stuff, and even like now with the gym and whatever for myself, if I don't have that target, I feel like I kind of just drift between here and there, and I don't really make any progress. And I think, as you said, how important goals are. I think it's something that everyone kind of needs to do, even if you think, setting the goals like silly, and that could be for any aspect of life, not just sporting, but whether it be business or education. That's really important as well.
How do you set your goals in the gym at the moment?
So for me, it's obviously gym and the bodybuilding. That's kind of
your thing.
what I got into, and that was really over COVID, when obviously I stopped playing football, came to university, and the first year was COVID, as you said, and I was, to be fair, I was like, I'm not going to pay 70, 80 quid for a football membership plus all the kit and do nothing with it. So I started getting into the gym. We built a little like garage gym over COVID, and then
at home or
at home.
Okay.
And then so that's how I first started getting into it, because I was like, I need something to do. And then through uni, progressed through that, started going to the gym properly, learning a little bit more about it, and all of those different goals all combined, like learning more about nutrition, learning more about how to do the exercises, everything all just kind of came together, and then the goals were just set, and then obviously you go through your bulks and cuts and all of this stuff. So they're the two kind of main things that kind of give me that target. But I felt really with gym, if I haven't had that end point of where I want to get to, then I kind of just lose the passion for it. I just drift, and as I said, I just don't really feel like I get anything out of it.
So what is that? Would it be sort of feeling a certain way, looking a certain way, like weighing a certain way?
Yeah, so like kind of a bit of everything. Like I know, like obviously as you bulk, you put on weight, like you are not going to look amazing like how you want to, but that's where the cut comes in. But yeah, like a certain weight, or let's say like before I hit 120 on bench, I was like, I want to get that 120 because it's a nice weight, and like you hit your 100 kilo bench, and it's like, well, what's the next one? 120. So I hit 120, and to be honest, I haven't benched since, because I've hit my goal, and I was like, I don't really want to do it anymore. But yeah, like goals are all important for that sort of stuff. But back to you, as obviously the guest, and this is what we want to talk about, what the people want to hear as well. So getting into tennis, you obviously said through your family, and you kind of were given, I guess, a way in through them. I'm assuming you went to go watch your mum and do that in tournaments. But in terms of watching tennis, who would you say kind of inspired you? You watched on the TV and said, that's my number one.
Yeah, I mean, as a lot of my age group in Britain would say, I mean, Andy Murray was like when I was sort of getting into the sport, and also pretty much all throughout until the last couple of years, it was his golden era. Like he was just starting to win at the Olympics. 2012, I was 11, so that was a big memory of mine, seeing that. I would try to replicate him as much as possible. Yeah. So he was the main one. Yeah,
I was going to say, I always remember his Wimbledon win as well. That was one for the ages, especially after losing it the year before, if I'm correct
exactly.
as well.
Yeah, lost to Federer the year before in 4 sets, cried a lot, and then the next year come back to win it. So yeah, it's quality.
Yeah, and then obviously as well, he's coaching Djokovic at the moment. What do you think about that one? Do you think it's a bit of a weird change, or do you think it's kind of something that maybe it's what he needs?
I think it's really cool. I think it's been interesting hearing on a few other podcasts, like people reviewing the decision to have Murray as the coach. And I quite like it, because one, from a publicity stunt for Djokovic, automatically he'll get so many more fans liking him, just because he's now associated more closely with Murray.
And the headlines as well, literally. Well, I remember when it came out, it was just bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, it was big. And but not only for the sort of publicity stunt, I think for his game it's going to be really useful as well, because Murray's had 5 years pretty much of trying to work out ways of winning with not his best game because of all the injuries he's had. And Djokovic has clearly lost something, because he's not been winning as much. It's as simple as that. So now Murray can try and help him problem solve and get back to winning ways.
Obviously have Alcaraz as well, probably a major part in Djokovic not winning so much. He's a absolutely terrific talent.
Yeah, no, he's quality. I mean, him and Sinner are at the top of the game now, and to be honest, not many people are close to them, if we're honest. So Djokovic has got a bit of work to do, but yeah, he's shown he can keep up with it. It's just whether he can do it consistently this year, which is probably going to be his last full season.
Yeah, do you think it's more of a passing of the torch kind of?
Yeah, probably.
Thing. I was going to say, because as well, you mentioned growing up in Murray's golden era, I should say. That was really, for me, I think one of tennis's golden eras. The likes in Nadal, Federer, Djokovic, Murray, and then so many more as well, all playing at the same time, all at the top of their game. Do you think in tennis we're going to see anything like that again, or?
Yeah, it is a big discussion at the moment. You know, just onlookers love to discuss who's going to be the next big three.
Do you think it's fair to compare anyone to them, or do you think they kind of have to make their own name, make their own way?
I think it is tough to compare because right now it's unimaginable to see anyone, even the likes of Alcaraz and Sinner, getting 24 slams like Djokovic has. It's so tough to think like that at the moment. Okay, maybe in 5-6 years when they're starting to get up to double figures, maybe. But I think it's such a different game now as well. But I think
in what sense do you think it's a different game?
Because I think, for example, Federer, when he first started playing, it was a lot of the tactics with serve and volley. So you'd come into the net a lot more. And then over his career, that changed significantly and people started playing more baseline rallies. And so he had to transition that during his career, which I think people don't talk about enough is how well he did that because he became the best serve and volleyer, turned one of the best baseliners. So whereas now I think Alcaraz and Sinner aren't coming to the net too much, but they're so good from the baseline and their movement is probably even better than it was for Federer and Nadal back in the day. So I think there's different aspects of the game that they're better at and different things that they're worse at. So I think that's how it's a different and it's maybe incomparable.
Yeah, and then just quickly a personal one. Out of those top four, how would you rank them?
In terms of the GOAT debate?
Yeah, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, Murray.
Okay.
If you had to go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Put you on the spot here.
Yeah, it is interesting. I think
obviously all very different in their games as well. But
yeah. I'll have to go Djokovic at number 1. Not necessarily because I like him the most. I don't. But I don't mind the bloke. He seems all right.
Haven't met him personally.
Yeah, haven't met him personally. But so I put in number 1, just performance, results-wise, you can't not. Federer and Nadal, a little bit difficult to sort of put one above the other because similar results-wise. Again, some people might put Rafa above Feds because of that record at Roland Garros.
Yeah.
It's difficult, but my gut tells me that Federer goes second, Nadal goes third, and Mazza goes fourth.
Unfortunately,
sadly.
number 4.
I'd love to put him at the top, but
he's got first place in everyone's heart. So that's that one. So obviously, with you playing tennis, you obviously played in a couple of national tournaments as a junior. If you just talk about those for a little bit, how did you find them? Obviously, I'm guessing junior, kind of what age group?
Yeah, it was. I started probably around under 12. Started playing more national tournaments, and then through up to under 18s. So variations really. But, good. I probably had my best results probably under 14. It was before boys started to get really big and powerful. So someone like me who didn't have a big game, I probably had more success. I had, more opportunities to hurt opponents. Whereas when we get more towards the under 18 bracket, the boys started to have really big serves, and I just didn't have enough to compete with the top. But great experiences. I've really happy with what I managed to achieve. Wish I had done more. Sort of looking back, but there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, and how do you think, looking back, what would you have done differently, maybe to get you to that next level, or in terms of not just getting to that next level? If you could change 1 or 2 things, maybe that you said, if I did that differently, maybe I would have had more success.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a hard question.
No, I have thought about it a lot. Obviously, I mean, the first one that comes to my mind is that decision that so many people have between 2 different sports when they go into it. So I played a lot of football as well, like yourself, and at probably 11 made the decision to really focus on tennis. That's always the one I look back to, is like, what if I chose football? Maybe you'd still be playing. I mean, it's very difficult for football as well to make it.
Yeah, extremely
isn't
difficult.
Yeah, so maybe you can touch a bit on that, but different. I think I think you have more time than you think. I wish I sort of had that perspective on it, because I was always thinking I was a little bit late into the performance side of tennis, I'd say. Like, I played a lot, but I didn't.
In terms of like the analysis and
yeah, a little bit, just like really focusing on the specifics of the game. And I was always serious on my tennis, but I went to an academy when I was about 14, and maybe if I'd gone earlier to somewhere, that would have helped me progress. So potentially that, but I just wish that when I was like 15 or 16, I didn't think it was sort of over because I wasn't at a certain level. There's still plenty of time to improve. So yeah, maybe that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the same for a lot of things. I remember I can definitely relate to you in terms of picking one sport or the other, because I was a swimmer as well, but I kind of realised that one wasn't gonna go too far, because as you said, when everyone starts getting bigger, I just didn't grow. So I was like, right, I've got to swim 2 strokes for everyone's one.
Difficult.
I actually swam with Tom Dean in the relay.
Did you?
And back in the day, yeah. Who's obviously gone on to have some massive success at the Olympics as well.
You swam with him in the team?
Yeah, swam with him in the relay. So that was claim to fame there, but
sick.
Probably won't have a clue who I am.
He wouldn't remember you.
Probably not. I don't know. I think I gave swimming up when I was about 11, 12, maybe, something like that. Age, so, like, I swam Welsh Nationals. Like, I was all right at it, but then it just got to a point where I was waking up at like 5 in the morning, doing 2 hours before school, and then going for 2 hours after school. And it just, I think at that age, I was just like, it got too much and too serious too quickly. And for me, I liked it, but I wasn't passionate enough about it to really want to go through. And then I think obviously physical conditions didn't aid me in any way with that one. But yeah, obviously you're saying getting to that point where you realise where maybe you don't think you're going to get to that next level. How mentally tough is that to kind of see your dream kind of fading before your eyes, really, so to say?
Yeah, it is difficult because ever since you sort of start out doing it more seriously, that's your goal, and that's sort of, you don't really see anything else happening. You're like, I will do that. It's just a matter of time, which is a good mindset to have. But reality at some point kicks in, and it is difficult. I always find it's actually similar, and people might think this is not a correct comparison, but when professional athletes do sort of hang up their rackets or end their careers, it's that period after where you're like, crap, what do I do with myself? And even though I didn't obviously make it to the professional ranks, like, there's still that period after you sort of accept that you're not going to go pro, after you're like, where's my next goal? What do I do? So I think that's the toughest period of, like, just adjusting your mindset of that's all I knew for 10 years probably was playing tennis, and that was sort of all I cared about. So it's just that period after where you're like, it's that adjustment period, which is tough. Yeah, and did you agree?
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, maybe not so much for swimming, but because I was doing it so much, I didn't mind the lines, waking up not as early before school and stuff. But like, there was a sense of it, like, kind of the teamwork and the spirit and all that stuff around it, and obviously the massive amount of endorphins you get after finishing a race, and as I said, for you, finishing a game, winning a game. Yeah. And you mentioned, obviously, you're saying there, that stage in between where you don't really know what you're doing, you've just stopped, and maybe still playing like now and again, but it's not serious, and then you want to take it seriously, but how did you manage that time? And kind of, what were your kind of main struggles with that time as well?
I like was clinging on to it for as long as I could, like, exactly had that thing you've just explained there of, okay, maybe I'd have a few weeks of, it's fine, like, I don't mind not playing, and then I have the next few weeks of, crap, no, I'm still clinging on to it, and I need to make the most of it while I'm still young. So I think even recently I've probably just been like, right, focus on other things now. But even the year after I finished my undergrad, so 2023, I decided to go to Spain to coach and try and play a bit and play a few tournaments. And that, if I look back in hindsight, was that a decision sort of trying to cling on to the playing days, probably. So I think, and fine, like, I was doing what I thought was right in the moment. And I think that's all you can do.
I know, obviously, that must have been a wonderful experience as well. Yeah. Going abroad coaching, doing something you're extremely passionate about as well.
Yeah, no, it was a great experience. And like I said, I don't regret it as such, because that's what I thought was correct in the moment. But looking back, would I have now I know what I know? Would I have done that? Maybe not, just because it didn't align with where I'm going now. But maybe I wouldn't be here if I didn't do that.
I always think everything does work out for a reason as well. Like no matter
Big
kind
believer.
of what it is, it always happens for a reason. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And even if like you think something's a good idea and it doesn't work out, you still gain valuable experience and you learn so much from it. Then for the next time something happens or you get a chance to do it again, then you know this is what went right, this is what went wrong, and you can decide from then. But obviously you mentioned going from coaching to Spain. You also went to uni in America for a year, so you're a bit of a well-travelled man. How was that that experience going out to the States and doing uni over there for a year?
Yeah, it was quality. I mean, and that is the great thing about tennis. It takes you to amazing places that I wouldn't have gone to if I hadn't played.
Was there any other places apart from them that you went to?
Tennis-wise?
Yeah.
So, yeah, America a couple of times. Did a couple of trips to Florida. And then when I went to uni, it was in North Carolina. Yeah. So that was great. A little bit around Europe for tennis, but hardly much. And when I say Europe, I mean like Ireland and Scotland.
Oh.
Nothing too exotic, sadly. But yeah, so that was sort of the places it's taken me. But America was quality.
Yeah.
Tough again because it was a COVID year, so didn't manage to play many matches. But to experience a fairly key aspect of tennis now, because so many college players are now going on to play professional, it's actually quite important to understand how it all works, especially for me going into the broadcasting sphere. So yeah, it's good.
And then obviously that during COVID, going abroad, how difficult was that? Obviously, I'm assuming you probably didn't see family for quite a long time, and obviously all your friends, obviously you would have met new friends out there, but how challenging was that, especially when you've gone out there to play tennis and now all of a sudden you can't do the one thing you wanted to do and you're so far away from everything that you know and everything that maybe you feel like comfortable with? Like how difficult was that to kind of get used to and to then sort yourself out and move forwards?
Yeah, it was tough. What was good was that everyone was in the same position. So we as a tennis team were quite a close-knit group. So yeah, automatically you had pretty good friends early on. So that was good. But yeah, it was a struggle traveling. That was one of the main things I wanted to do out there, whilst whether that was going to play tournaments or just traveling in your own time. That didn't get to do that. So that was annoying. How did we get through that? I mean, yeah, I think that was one of the key factors for me returning to the UK and not continuing my degree out there, was because I think probably missed family quite a lot, and missed that feeling of England. I think it's underestimated how good it is here.
yeah. And with that, you're saying that you kind of missed the feeling of home, and that's kind of why you came back. But with those challenges, how hard is it for you to not, as I said, to not be able to play tennis out there? And that obviously that was something you must have really, really wanted to do, to obviously going out there in the first place. But how hard was that then returning and kind of being like, well, what was the point of that? I went out there and yes, I had new experiences and yes, I met new people, but that's not what I was there to do. How did you kind of pick yourself up and go, okay, we've got to go again?
I found that again, and sort of what the podcast called, that's the sports that made me. Like, I think that was just a part of an experience that has helped me now, and I think that's how I had to see it, is that it's not a wasted experience. It's something that's helped me. It will help me develop as a person. So being away from home, meeting new people, being in a new culture and making the most of it, even if you don't like it. I think that is a key life lesson, is making the most of something even if it's not that good and you're not enjoying yourself. So that was probably the key takeaway. Maybe took me a few weeks and chats with family and friends to realise that. But sort of going forward from there, that's where I first started at Cardiff Met, and it was sort of that new outlook of, right, now I want to focus on sports media and maybe the career I want now, as opposed to being the tennis player I wanted to be.
Yeah. Obviously, with the sports broadcasting degree, what kind of roles is that for you? But what do you kind of see yourself in? Because for me as well, obviously, for everyone listening, me and Alex are both on the same course, the Sports Broadcasting Masters here at Cardiff Met. I think it's definitely a pathway for like-minded people like me and you, and if anyone's listening that maybe didn't go as far as they wanted to in sport, but still have that passion and still have that hunger and drive to be involved in some way. How would you kind of describe this course? As like, you saw him as like, yeah, do you know what, this is my way back into the tennis world or back into the sports world in general?
Yeah, it is like this degree is like perfect for that, isn't it? Yeah, like you say, like I think there's lots of people like us that have played decent level of sport and then are thinking you still want to work in sport because there's that passion for it, and I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
No, neither.
Yeah, absolutely
neither.
not. So yeah, I think it's the perfect mix. You get to do so much stuff, and yeah, for me it's just awesome.
So with your tennis days, I wouldn't say over completely,
Nearly.
but nearly. With your tennis days, then, how do you think those skills that you've learned playing tennis have transferred over into kind of what you do now? And how do you think those skills of, as in you play doubles as well, teamwork, working with people, or simply having the mental strength to get through a match that lasts for hours and hours, how do you think those skills have transferred into what you do now? How do you think they can help you going forwards? And also, how do you think that those skills have shaped you into that person, into the Alex that I have sat before me?
Yeah, I think one that stands out to me that we experience sort of every week here now is just that calmness under pressure, because we put in situations where, I don't know, we've got a day to prepare for commentary and then you're sort of live on the, on Cardiff Met Sport TV, or I've had scenarios when I've been working in tennis where, maybe one time I was working on the Olympics as just someone in sort of a behind the scenes broadcast studio helping with the commentators, and that's like, it's all live, and so you've got to do it. You can't not do it because there's no one else to do it. But you've got to be calm under pressure. So that correlates to before you step on the court for a match, you might be crapping yourself and like not wanting to do it, but you've got to do it, and you've got to somehow produce some sort of level. So I think that's something that I've taken into who I am today. I like to think I'm quite calm no matter the situation. And just, I think, commitment as well. I think whatever I do, I'll try and put 100% in, because tennis, you have to do that. Otherwise, you're just not going to do anything significant. So, it's probably two that stand out to me.
And then kind of touching on part of the question that I was speaking about just then, that mental toughness, obviously with singles, playing by yourself, not being able to feed off a partner potentially when the game's going and going and going, and you have to keep dragging yourself back up. Maybe if it's not going the way you want it to, but you're hanging on in the game. How tough is that to keep picking yourself back up time and time again?
Yeah, it's difficult. I've had many instances where I haven't succeeded and I've just flopped, and I think loads of tennis players will sort of identify with that feeling of you just have nothing left, and so it comes off as if you're not trying, and it's a really weird mindset to sort of grasp, but you've just got nothing left, and so it comes out as from an onlooker's perspective as if they've just given up. So that's something that's really tough to grasp. So there've been instances when I haven't done it, but then also times when I have sort of flipped the switch and managed to find something else within me to push and go again. So I just think it's a process, and it is tough, but again, it probably comes down to willingness to commit to the cause, really.
And do you think that's something people can learn to get better at, or do you think it's something that you just have or you don't have, that kind of mental willingness to go again and go again?
Yeah, I think definitely you can improve on it and learn it. I think I definitely improved on it throughout my junior career and college playing days. But I do think that some people have sort of a gift in that sense. I think the likes of Djokovic, Murray, Nadal, Fed, they have something else
they can just pull out of the bag.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and I think that shows they don't necessarily hit the ball any better than someone ranked 100 in the world, but there's something else that they've got that has made them succeed as much as they have. The drive and kind of all of that sort of stuff. And for you then, when you're in that position in a match where things aren't going your way,
the match is going on, but you're still in there. What are the kind of things that would fire you up, that would get you going and go, oh, do you know what? I can actually get this back. I can win this match.
Sometimes if I didn't know where it was within me that I could find that extra motivation from, I'd look at elsewhere. For example, there's a lot of people, especially in all sports, but even from my perspective in tennis, that your team that are helping you. And in my case, the team was my mum, my family, my coaches, or my coach. I think about them and how much effort they're putting in, and I wouldn't want to let them down. So that was something that I'd maybe think about and sort of go to as an extra motivator. If I didn't have it within myself, I'd look to them and be like, oh, you know, okay, mum's watching on, let's do it for her. I think that's actually quite a good way of doing it. That's one that stands out to me that I tried sometimes.
Yeah. I think, to be fair, I think everyone, no matter what level of sport they've played, have always had some of those elements in there of wanting it to do for someone else. Yeah. And I think, you know, sports it's an incredibly powerful game, no matter what it is. As you said, you talked about the ways that you found mental strength within yourself, the way that you've pulled yourself back in, and how those skills have kind of transferred over into everyday life. I think sports probably, if not arguably, perhaps the best thing in teaching people how to improve, because all the skills are so transferable as well, aren't they? Yeah, so transferable. And that's what I would say to anyone sort of playing sport and not knowing whether to keep on pursuing it or whether to sort of give up. I just say, keep on going, because the transferable skills are a joke. If you sort of use them in the right way, it's perfect. And then, quickly, if we just go back to kind of some of your achievements as well. You were in the final of the nationals in the doubles competition. You also represented England in the Four Nations. If you just describe to anyone listening who might not know what those kind of events are, and maybe a little bit about how you prepared for those events, because obviously these national events are, and obviously on an international level as well, these are the biggest events you can possibly play in. So they're slightly different. So the first one, where I thought was my best result in a national competition, actually did come in the doubles with one of my schoolmates who was better than me. I was lucky to be playing with him. He probably helped us to that result. That was definitely the other way around, 100%. So that was it was a grade 2 level event. So national level events from when I was playing were grade 1 and grade 2, and then it would go down to regional. That took place in London, and there's maybe 32 or so players that play in that, 16 doubles teams. And then, we managed to find our way to the final, and then, lost to a good pair. Toby Samuel, one of them, who's, playing some good stuff now in America. And I think he's, definitely professional now. So to look back and think, I was sort of in contention with those sorts of people, and that now they've gone on to do amazing things. That's pretty cool. A highlight of my tennis sort of playing days was representing England in the home nations. Again, very lucky to be in that. How did that come about? I don't know if you were just about to say. So basically, there's no end. I was nowhere near the very top of the country. If you think about it, you'd think that someone playing for England would be maybe top 10 in the country. Like I wasn't. I think the best I got to was 22. But the reason, even still, 22's very respectable. It was respectable ranking. That was the pinnacle of my. How many people are trying to be ranked and competing as well to be 20 seconds an achievement in itself. True. I'm happy with that. The reason we got selected to play for that is because my school won a team competition, which was part of the National Club League, and so the team that won that picked 2 players from their squad to go and represent England against the other nations. And was that just Wales. School versus school kind of stuff, or did that competition work slightly differently? So our school that I went to was a big tennis school, and it was sort of operated as an academy. So we would play not only school competitions, but club team competitions. So we were actually sort of like this club, not necessarily school. I mean, we did play school competitions too, but that was the sort of better level that we would play. That was the reason we were entered into it, and ended up doing really well and winning the whole thing. So technically, I suppose we were the best club in England.
And then that's why we got the chance to pick 2 of us to go and play against England, Scotland, Wales.
And how was that as an experience then? Was it all held in one place, or did you travel around to each country playing, or kind of just if you could just describe it a little bit, how, and then also how did you kind of deal with that pressure of thinking, I'm representing England here, like this is actually quite a big deal.
It was. I felt like it was a big deal. I mean, it was an awesome experience. It was in Belfast, if I remember correctly. So we flew up. It was me and one of my teammates who represented the under-18 sort of England team, and then there was an under-14s and under-12, so the little ones. How did I cope with the pressure? It was tough because I was playing people that on paper were actually much better than me. So I think that expectation was automatically lowered because I was playing people better, but I also didn't want to make a sort of fool of myself and not do a good job. Sort of wanted to make my selection worthwhile. And we actually did a decent job. We came second in the end, so a great effort. But again, I think that's where it was a team competition, so you play singles and doubles, and that's where sort of my doubles play came into it, and we performed all right. But I think again, it's just that coming back to that skill of, okay, you're nervous and you've got stuff to live up to, but you've got to go and do it somehow or other, and you've got to go and find a way in your mind to give some performance to some level. Crazy.
And then with you saying sort of similar stuff, you could just lock in. Was there anything you did preparation wise, on a consistent basis, that you found for yourself did well for you in order to prepare for a match, whether that be at nationals or in a uni match? Is there any sort of techniques, or do you are you one of those people who have superstitions before a match, or is there any anything you have to do that you feel, well, if you don't do it, it's not gonna benefit you when you play your match?
I didn't have too many superstitions. Really, I had a few weird ones about
Go on then.
Where
let's hear a few of them.
Well, I just haven't this is really weird, but I don't do it as much today. Weirdly, I think it's probably sort of faded away. But I used to have to put my toothbrush down a certain amount of times. It's really random. I couldn't quite leave the bathroom.
After you brush your teeth, you had to what? So it was 3 times. What, you pick it back up?
I just have to place it really, really well. Sometimes the edge catches the floor, the sort of shelf first. It has to be perfect.
Yeah.
And if I didn't do that perfectly, I wouldn't get the win the next day or something. That was a weird one.
I haven't heard anything like that one before, to be honest. I don't think mine were too bad.
Really? What was yours?
Well, when I was playing club level, I used to wear the lucky pants. Nice. When I was playing for my club side, Woking and Embrook, they were playing in orange and black, so I'd always wear my orange and black boxes for that one. Makes and then some of the swimming stuff, to be honest, I can't really remember too much, but I always kind of had a set routine before I'd go up onto the block. I'd always kind of just tap myself in the same way and just kind of shake off a little bit. Yeah. But then I've always had to do it tap my left arm first, then my right, and then my chest, stuff like that. But I don't think I was too superstitious in that sense. But yeah, going back to preparing for matches and things, how do you get the best out of yourself before a match? What nutrition wise do you focus on, and preparation just mentally before as well?
Yeah, I was always someone who, felt like I needed the best preparation if I was going to perform at sort of my best level. So whether that was, having the right meal before, I always needed to sort of do my grips well in advance. So I hated feeling rushed. Yeah,
that's exactly the same with me. To be honest, not even with sport, just generally in life. If I have to do 15 things in 15 minutes, I'd just have some sort of mental breakdown and just end up not doing anything.
Yeah, exactly. So I just felt if I had all of those things done in the right time, to the right amount, then that was my preparation, and that made me calm mentally. So then I was going into the match in the right state. So that was it, really. Pretty simple.
And I think that kind of mental clearness, I think, is a massive element of sport as well, which you obviously mentioned there.
Yeah.
Just quickly, we'll end off with some kind of quick fire questions.
Yeah.
Singles or doubles, which one was should we say harder to play? Or
I think harder to play. I found singles harder.
Yeah.
I think doubles it was more tactically, like you had formations and you knew what you were doing, you
Yeah.
knew where you were going. Singles is a bit more difficult.
yeah, which one did you enjoy more?
It's changed over the years, but currently singles.
Your favourite tennis memory?
Probably winning my first regional event in Tunbridge Wells.
Who was that for?
It was for myself. That
Yourself?
was a personal competition. It was just back in the day.
Was it just kind of you entered?
Yeah, I entered a regional competition. We go around the sort of the south.
Was it you played for like? Was it like? Oh, I mean, this could be completely wrong, but was it sort of you are joined to some sort of club and they give you the tournaments, or was it simply just you going, "That's a tournament, I'm going to play in it"?
Simply just me. So throughout the year, you'd enter tournaments to try and get ranking points that would put your ranking up nationally. And that was just one of those tournaments that was decent regional standard. And I remember you'd win 250 points if you won that tournament, and I was like, oh, that's the dream, and I've managed it. So yeah, that was clutch.
Favorite tennis player ever? I mean, I'm pretty sure you
Andy.
said Murray. Yeah.
Andy, yeah.
If you could compete at one tennis tournament, what tennis tournament would that be and why?
Wimbledon, because it's the greatest ever tournament ever, greatest competition ever from a tennis player's perspective, and it might even be the best sporting event in the world.
Do you think? What makes
controversial?
What do you think?
Maybe.
What do you think it makes it?
I just think tradition. I think it's a sporting event that is kind of kept to its core values throughout ever since it started. Don't ask me when it started, something like 1877. But so I think it's managed to find a way to keep those traditional values, but also find a way of keeping to the times too, and develop its technology.
Yeah, 1877.
Oh, that's unreal from me.
We'll go just some random other quickfire questions then. What's your favourite workout song or favourite song to like listen to, like training wise, or actually should we just scrap that and just do favourite song?
Really, I was thinking this the other day actually. I was chatting with my housemate. Just loving country music at the moment.
Yeah, I feel like that's getting quite big, you know.
It is, I think
I see a lot of people like
the Swifties
sort of getting back into it as well. There's that what's it, Morgan Wallen as well?
Morgan Wallen, yeah, quality.
See, Post Malone's done a little album as well. Yeah, there's a lot of big names in country
stuff,
music coming. Might have to try getting me into it, to be honest, because my country music, to be honest, I have no idea where even to start with
back, honestly.
What has that happened to you?
Yeah, literally. I first listened to it and I was like, oh god, it's so good.
Your favourite cuisine?
Favourite cuisine would be probably Thai. Honestly, really good. Yeah, I went to Thailand a couple of months ago for a tournament, not to play at, but it's just
was
so
that
good.
Doing comms and?
It wasn't comms. It was just media relations stuff. Yeah, just a bit of work, but it was quite.
I was gonna say that was pretty fantastic experience to go out to Thailand and work.
Traveling around there.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's always one of the places I really want to go to.
Yeah, have a pad Thai.
Yeah, I know. There's actually a really nice Thai restaurant back by me in Reading. Been there pretty much every weekend. Like, it's like whenever I'm home, it's always takeaway from there. Honestly, it's unbelievable. Even like they've got Giggling Squid down here as well. Yeah. That's a lovely place. If you're looking to expand your cuisine taste, definitely go out, have a bit of time. Who would you say, if you could invite 3 people to a dinner party, who would they be?
Nelson Mandela, the Queen. Of England.
Yeah.
And probably, Sia Khaleesi.
Sia Khaleesi.
Yeah.
That's
he recently on campus, wasn't he?
I know, he was. That would have been, I was going to say, that's a very interesting, probably very thought-provoking dinner party you would be having as well.
It would be.
So that's all we have time for today. Thank you very much to Alex for joining us. Be sure to listen in to any future episodes that will be coming out as well. Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.